Welcome to FIFA Strasse, global football's home address. A day after the world's biggest sport was thrown into total chaos, we'll take you down FIFA's road to ruin. This is a TRT World Special. I'm Lance Santos. It's FIFA in freefall. Two arrests right here in Zurich, 16 charges related to corruption around the globe, and over $200 million of alleged bribes paid over the course of FIFA's 110-year history. Tim Hardingham takes us through a day that the FIFA bosses would rather forget.
A thick fog blanketing the house that Sepp Blatter built, with FIFA looking more like an organisation stuck in a storm and proving rudderless to get out of it. The man now at the helm, already asleep on the job. Acting President Issa Ayutu is recovering from a kidney transplant, but the Reform Committee presentation proved too much for the 69-year-old. Questions over his health and his suitability for football's top job now reaching new levels.
I wouldn't have been here if I were corrupted, my dear friend. Let this parliament prove that I had 1 million debit. I've never received $1 franc, $1, €1 from anyone to vote in favour of one country to host the World Cup.
The reforms which were tabled are said to have been voted in unanimously by the Executive Committee, but the board which granted them will no longer exist. Instead, the new FIFA board, which is supposed to be more independent, will replace it. It will also include 6 women amongst its 36 members. Just minutes after the world's media left the FIFA briefing room, there were further arrests during raids in Miami, as US Attorney General Loretta Lynch and the FBI twist the knife on corruption in football.
Now, let me say that the betrayal of trust that is set forth here is truly outrageous, and the scale of corruption alleged herein is unconscionable. And the message from this announcement should be clear to every culpable individual who remains in the shadows, hoping to evade this ongoing investigation. You will not wait us out, and you will not escape our focus.
FIFA's reform package was meant to wipe the slate clean, but instead it's been another calamitous week for football's governing body. They're still going ahead with their Christmas celebration, but it looks like the party is quickly coming to a close. Tim Hardingham, TRT World.
So who are the FIFA officials charged in those dawn raids on Thursday morning? Alfredo Howard and Juan Angel Nepu are both serving FIFA vice presidents and were the ones arrested at the Bar Alac. They've both now been banned from FIFA for the customary 90 days. Manuel Berger is on the FIFA Development Committee, Roma Osuna is a member of the Audit and Compliance Committee, and Ariel Alvarado sits on the Disciplinary Committee within FIFA. Brian Jimenez is the Guatemalan FA boss and member of the FIFA Committee for Fair Play and Social Responsibility, while Marco Polo Del Nero, Luis Chiriboga, Rafael Callejas and Jose Luis Mesner are all current or former presidents of their respective football associations. Then there's Ricardo Teixeira, the former Brazilian FA chief and longtime FIFA Exco member who is the subject of extensive bribery and money laundering claims. 4 other individuals, including another former Exco member in Rafael Salguero, are facing similar charges. Patrick Dybel takes a look at just how football in the area has been affected and what happens next.
Paraguay is known as the heart of America, and in the region it's the heart of football too. CONMEBOL, the sport's governing body in South America, is based in the capital of Asunción, but right now there's no one home. The Confederation's president, Alfredo Howard, was arrested in Zurich on Thursday morning on corruption charges.
We trust the situation can be favorably solved by President Howard. We trust in his good work. He's a person who has acted with enough honesty.
In Howard's home of Honduras, his countryman in Rafael Callejas was also charged, but he's fighting an extradition order.
The issue is concerning. It's difficult, and I hope there is due process. That public figure. For many years I've spoken out against illegal activities. I hope to do this now.
Football powerhouse of Brazil saw both Marco Polo Del Nero and former FIFA heavyweight Ricardo Teixeira charged, while Jose Maria Marin, another Brazilian football boss, has already been extradited. There's a few from Guatemala in the US authorities' crosshairs too, including Brian Jimenez, who sits on the FIFA Committee for Fair Play and Social Responsibility.
I like to face things and respond to whatever situation, and we're in the best position to collaborate and contribute so that this investigation reaches its conclusion.
In the Caribbean, fresh claims that Jack Warner and Jeffrey Webb embezzled funds earmarked for Haiti earthquake victims. North America didn't escape scrutiny either, with a TV company linked to the scandal having its offices in Miami raided.
The investigation with the FBI, that Imagina is cooperating fully. There are no arrests that are going to take place.
Back in Paraguay, CONMEBOL is crumbling, with most of its top and current former officials facing widespread corruption charges. How it recovers after this is anyone's guess. Patrick Dybell, TRT World.
Joining us now is sports lawyer Stefano Telo. Stefano, is the US treating FIFA as a criminal investigation?
Is it setting a precedent? Well, the US has always seen itself as the long arm of the law, the policeman of the world. And I have to say to you that even though it may not really be interested in this particular sport, it's assisting the Swiss, who I think have been very weak and would not have been able to do this without the Americans. With FIFA being based in Switzerland, they would have not taken, I don't think, the action that the Americans have taken. But the Americans, using the wire fraud as the excuse to get involved, have assisted the Swiss, and the Swiss are now working as puppets of the US authorities. And I think that it's fair to say that the Americans will use this in future for any other sports-related activity where there is money, wire or corruption happening and it involves their territory.
Sepp Blatter's made lots of money during his tenure. How has he managed to do so?
It's the case that in some countries politicians wield a lot more power than is visible, and therefore if these sports personalities, these sports administrators, these regulators are connected to politicians, then of course I'm more than sure, and this is my own viewpoint and nothing else but a personal viewpoint, that they will use this clout to assist them in not being deported, irrespective of what America says.
And what's next for FIFA?
And my own view is that Blatter will fall foul of American justice, and I think Platini and Blatter will spend some time in some jail somewhere, whether they spend it in America or whether they, because of Blatter's age, he is kept under house arrest, or whether he's kept in a prison in Switzerland. I think that's possibly more likely. But I think at some point in time, both Platini and Blatter will go to the US. Whether Platini will be arrested and kept over there or what, I don't know. But I think Blatter will probably be arrested. He will face trial in America, and then he will probably be brought back to spend his latter years in Switzerland.
This is the house that Sepp built, and it's falling down brick by brick. Mr. Blatter's not well at the moment, and he's not speaking to the media. But his right-hand man and good friend Klaus Schmidt has been available to speak to us. And I started it off by asking him the question on everyone's lips: is Mr. Blatter corrupt?
He is not at all corrupt, definitely not, but he's coming out of another culture. You see, he is 79 years old today, so when he started to work with FIFA 40 years ago, it was a question of handshakes. It is a club, FIFA, where gentlemen are meeting from all over the world. So you don't need this kind of contracts and everything. You don't need compliance as is usual with banks today and other large organizations. You are just the president of a large club, the largest in the world, the most successful in the world. You're doing a handshake, you're saying, yes, I agree, and then it's agreed.
So why do you think that some people, a lot of people, think that Sepp Blatter is corrupt?
There is a fight going on for FIFA. It's a huge fight because FIFA is an extremely successful organization, and it has a cash flow of $1.5 billion on an annual basis. And now someone else took a chance to attack FIFA. So if there is a lot of money, there is always an attacker.
So do you think that the investigations surrounding him are wrong? Do you think the FBI has made a mistake?
He can't control, as well as United Nations can't control all the details in Africa or elsewhere in the world. So Sepp Blatter was not able to control what happened in Miami.
So does Sepp Blatter feel that he's being targeted unfairly in this investigation?
Absolutely, absolutely. He personally, and everybody can check this, he never took money from anybody.
But he gave money.
He gave money to Platini.
Sure, he spent huge money. FIFA spent $600,000 on a daily basis for all these small, poor countries.
But Michel Platini is not a small, poor country. He gave him the money. That's what's being investigated now. What was that money for?
Frankly speaking, 2 million is nothing. It's nothing.
But it's still it's a payment that was made.
Yes, but that's exactly what I said. It's a gentleman's club.
Is this not irresponsible, the way to run such a big organization? I mean, FIFA is one of the biggest clubs in the world.
Yes, it's a club. It's a club. In a club you have friends. Never forget this. In the club you make a handshake and then you get the money if you're doing your service.
The French government put pressure on Platini to vote Qatar. Sepp Blatter wanted Russia and USA for the World Cups. Platini double-crossed him because of the French government. And that is where the Qatar World Cup came from.
That's clear. That's how it happened. And they had the help of Germany. And then the lobbying started against Sepp Blatter, against the US, and for Qatar.
So can you cross Sepp Blatter? I mean, look what's happened to Platini. Is he a man to be crossed?
I think Sepp Blatter said only a few days ago, he said, Platini is the best man next to me.
Are Sepp Blatter and Michel Platini talking? Do they talk anymore? Do they have a difficult relationship?
It's still a very difficult relationship because for Sepp Blatter it's not easy, that situation, but for Michel Platini it's even more difficult.
Did Sepp Blatter effectively end Platini's career?
That's not true. That's not true. If someone else ended the career of Michel Platini, it was Michel Platini himself.
And how did he end that?
By voting against Sepp Blatter.
While the FBI is splashed across front pages across the globe, there is a parallel investigation taking place right here in Zurich over Michel Platini and Sepp Blatter. We took a trip to the Swiss Attorney General's office and asked where they're focusing their attention.
The acting president of FIFA is under investigation for two positions. A, payment of 2 million Swiss francs to Michel Platini. B, we are interested in understanding much better and much more in detail what happened with the TV rights concerning the Caribbean islands. That is the persons everybody knows about, what happened there precisely.
We spoke to Mr. Blatter's spokesperson yesterday, and he said to us that FIFA is a club. It doesn't need things to be written down, and one can simply do deals with a handshake and an oral agreement. What do you think about that?
I know of very few persons that are in a position to walk on water and not to be drawing. So I could imagine that it's up to the criminal courts to decide if an organization such as FIFA stands outside the law.
If Mr. Blatter is found guilty, is he likely to go to prison? What sort of sentence could we expect?
We are talking about sentences from 5 to 6 years, plus minus, but that's a long way to go. Imagine that usually in these so-called white-collar crime investigations, it takes us 4 to 6 years until we can file criminal charges.
Is Mr. Blatter cooperating?
So Mr. Blatter has been questioned, indeed. As a culprit, he was questioned for several hours in the presence of one of his lawyers, and I would call his behavior modestly cooperative, yes, in the sense of he was responding to our questions. That's correct, yes.
Michel Platini, the OAG, described him as being in between a suspect and a witness. What does that mean?
The OAG could open criminal investigations against a person that is a person providing information. That's a legal difference towards a testimony, because once you have questioned a person as a testimony, you can't open criminal proceedings for the same accusations against these persons. That's the simple way to keep open the doors, if need be, to open against also such a person.
Coming up on FIFA in Freefall, what next for football's governing body? They've announced sweeping changes, but can they really recover?